Welcome back to the King Thumbs Locks for college football week 4, and let's get right into it with a recap of last week. And we had a successful week with the betting locks. Here, I'll show you them from the Discord just for the proof that we send out. Be sure to join the link in the Discord as we are rolling right now with 4 straight profitable days across college football, baseball, and NFL. So let's get right into it with last week's betting locks and game predictions. We got Penn State against Illinois right. That one was pretty easy. Drew Aller rolled in that one. Mississippi State plus 9.5. We did not get to go our way. A dominant LSU team overpowered them on the road. Then we got Mizzou to win outright against Kansas State. We had Mizzou plus 5 there in the betting lock. Louisville won with a last-second goal line stand against Indiana on the neutral site there in Lucas Oil. And then Old Dominion plus 15 against Wake Forest. Easily cashed. They choked the game in the end to not win. That's a tough one for them. Wake Forest escapes with the win. Ohio wins outright against Iowa State by 3 points. We had them plus the 3, so that's 3-1 on the betting locks here. Some people thought that field goal by Iowa State actually went in. I don't really know if it did. I think the camera angles were a little deceiving there, and I tend to rely on the ref that was there. Debate me in the comments below. I don't really think it went in, but a lot of people did. So Ohio gets the win there. Unfortunate loss for Iowa State. Oklahoma-Tulsa, that game wasn't close at all. Oklahoma's been dominant this year. Even traveling to Tulsa, their fans traveled well. This is the best Oklahoma team we've seen in a while. Minnesota and North Carolina. North Carolina ran away with this one, and likewise for Duke against Northwestern at home. This Duke team is pretty good. So let's get into the rest of our betting locks. We had Southern Miss plus 11 against Tulane. This one did not work. Frank Gore Jr. did not carry the run game enough, and they had no passing offense. So Tulane just runs away with that one in Hattiesburg. Michigan State plus 14.5 did not work. We grabbed this line before Mel Tucker was suspended. Not sure that would have kept this game tight. Washington's offense is just so good there. Then our free lock of the week, Tennessee against Florida. We had Florida plus 8. This line moved down for us, and then Florida ends up dominating Tennessee in this one. Then Syracuse at Purdue. We had Purdue winning there, and they actually did not win. And then Pitt at West Virginia. We had West Virginia plus 1, and that did cover for us. So currently 2-2 on the betting locks on this slide. And Wyoming at Texas. Texas won, but that was a good game, 10-10 going into the fourth quarter. And then BYU at Arkansas. We thought Arkansas would win, but KJ Jefferson was not potent enough, and this BYU team puts up a 30-piece on Arkansas on the road. BYU moves to 3-0, big win for the Big 12. Then Fresno State at ASU, just a dominant performance here. ASU turns the ball over 8 times, and ASU is quite a impoverished team. In fact, that Arizona State-Oklahoma State game, that was close, where you thought, oh, maybe Arizona State is decent. No, just turns out that Oklahoma State is really bad after they lost to South Alabama. Houston plus 7 does not cover for us against TCU. This TCU team is pretty legit on the road here. I think Houston's just pretty bad. Got that lucky win over UTSA. And then Kansas against Nevada. This game was a little close for you Kansas fans, but Kansas does take it. So let's get into this week's betting locks. Once again, check out the Discord if you want our betting plays for this week. And again, our free lock of the week will be on the next slide. Florida State at Clemson. I think Klubnik and Co. can get it done against Florida State. Florida State didn't have the greatest week in the red bandana game, in a tough environment, an emotional Boston College team that was committing a lot of penalties. Quite frankly, they got bailed there. I think Clemson can take this one on the home field, and it's not because of Florida State's ineptitude last week. I think they're bound to be better, but I think Clemson really needs this win far more than Florida State does. In fact, Florida State may have been overlooking Boston College for this game, but I'm going to have Clemson winning outright at home. The spread's pretty close on this one. I like Klubnik and the boys to get it done. Oklahoma at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati suffered a brutal loss against Miami of Ohio at home, while Oklahoma rolled over Tulsa. I like Oklahoma to beat Emory Jones and the boys here on the road. Then App State at Wyoming, highest FBS program east of the Mississippi and west of the Mississippi here. I like Wyoming to get it done. Paisley didn't play against Texas. Not sure if he'll play in this one, but I like the Wyoming run game to get it done against App State. App State running back Nate Noel is the second leading rusher in the nation, so this should be a good one on the ground, but I like the Wyoming Cowboys to take it away in Laramie. Marshall is another team with a dominant rush offense, and I like them to get it done at home in West Virginia here against Virginia Tech team that's not been great against the run. Virginia Tech has a good passing offense, so you should look for the Virginia Tech pass against this Marshall run game. I think Marshall can grind down the clock and win this game pretty easily here. Virginia Tech hasn't really shown me that much this year outside of that win against Old Dominion at home. SMU at TCU in the Iron Skillet game. I like Chandler Morris to put up enough points to win against the Ponies here. Ponies had a great win against Prairie View team that's not very good, but I like TCU here. They're more battle tested at this point in the season. Then Oklahoma against Iowa State. This is a poverty matchup. I like Iowa State to bounce off that tough loss at Ohio and win that one. Then we've got Colorado at Oregon, and a lot is going to be made of this matchup, but in all reality, the spread's 21. Colorado looked horrible against Colorado State. I'll forgive that somewhat because it was a big rivalry game, very emotional game, lots of penalties, lots of sloppiness out of Colorado, but they won't have Travis Hunter for this game. I like Bo Nix in this Oregon offense to run over this Colorado defense. I think Sanders and Weaver can put up a couple big connections to at least score a few points on this Oregon team, but I like Oregon big here. Then Utah against UCLA at home. Looks like Rising won't be playing here, so I like Johnson and co to get it done against UCLA at home. They're lucky that these tough games are at home. Of course, they had to play at Baylor and barely scraped out of that one, but I like Utah here in this ranked Pac-12 matchup. UCLA hasn't really proven anything to me yet. Then Ole Miss at Bama, and I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole, no betting lock on it, but I like Bama to win just because of their team overall. But if Milroe isn't playing, I could easily switch to Ole Miss. It's always tough to play in Tuscaloosa. I think Texas is very good despite their shortcomings last week. But if Milroe doesn't play, I don't think Alabama has a chance here. The quarterback play was just so anemic at USF. I think they have to get Milroe back in action because at least he was scoring for them. Second slide, here we go. And we've got some of the biggest games of the week. BYU at Kansas. I like Kansas to win this one narrowly. They're favored heavily. I think this one could be a little closer than people think. BYU obviously 3-0 with that win at Arkansas, while Kansas didn't play great at Nevada, but I wouldn't really credit either one of those. I think BYU can win this, but I think Kansas will win a close one with the home crowd. Their program's getting hyped up once again at the 3-0 record. Texas Tech at West Virginia. I like Texas Tech to shake off their rough start and win here. It's going to be a tough environment here in Morgantown. As you could see if you watched the Backyard Brawl last week, West Virginia played great, but they didn't have their starting QB. We'll see if he plays this time. I like Shug to get it done here, but it's going to be tough, and I think this will be a close game in Morgantown. And then Arkansas at LSU. Arkansas at LSU. This Arkansas offense is not great. I don't think that BYU defense is great, and LSU has just been blowing up opponents ever since that loss to Florida State. I like LSU easily in the swamp. They've got one of the best receivers in the nation in Malik Neighbors, and I like Daniels to get it to him early and often against Arkansas at home and ignite this crowd. Then Texas at Baylor. I like Texas in this one. Doesn't look like Blake Shapen will play, and this Texas offense should light up. We'll see how many Texas fans make the trip to Waco. The tickets are pretty good for this one. The Baylor fans should be excited, but 1-2 with the win over LIU. Baylor's just not matched up to this Texas team to win this one outright at all. Then, big game of the week, big lock of the week, Notre Dame plus 3.5 against Ohio State. Notre Dame will return 3 starters who did not dress last week against Central Michigan, and I like Notre Dame plus 3.5. I like this rush game with Estime. He's the leading rusher in the FBS. Granted, they have played 4 games to everyone else's 3. And I like Hartman here. McCord and Marvin Harrison did start to light it up against Western Kentucky. Ohio State, I think, has solved most of the offensive woes, but I still like Notre Dame to win a close one here outright, and we'll take the plus 3.5 if we're going to get it. I think this game is going to be close either way. Iowa at Penn State. This should be a good game, but I just like Penn State to put it on Iowa here. I think this Penn State defense is pretty good, and the Penn State offense should be able to move even on this dominant Iowa defense, but we'll see what happens in that one. Then we've got North Carolina at Pitt. I like Pitt to win this one. North Carolina was a little fraudulent against a App State team that was able to run it all over their face. I think Pittsburgh can do the same. Jurkovic did not play great last week against West Virginia at all, and I think Drake May could put up some points for this North Carolina team, but I think the crowd should be good at Acrisure Stadium. Give me Pitt to win this one outright. Then we've got UCF at Kansas State, and I like Kansas State to rebound after that brutal loss against Missouri on the 61-yarder. I like Howard and the Wildcats there, and UCF will be without their starting quarterback in that one. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your predictions below.